good, everyone. Thank you for
Morning.
joining us. Hello. So thank you very much for joining us today. I think we've just got a few more popping in there. But we have a fab session signed up for you today because we're joined by the lovely Daria from the Croatian Tourist Board. And I also have my trusty tech colleague Freya on hand today. And literally, since we found out we were on this session, we haven't shut up about talking about going to Croatia, and I've been looking at my own holidays this morning as well. Yeah, before I get carried away, I just want to cover a few things Jet2holidays wise. So first up, just wanted to highlight those rebook codes. They're still there, they're valid until the 21st of June. So just make sure that you're popping them on your bookings, you're incentivising your customers to rebook with you. Another thing we wanted to touch on is the government travel advice. When you guys sign up to Virtual Knowledge, there is an option for you to ask some questions. And we noticed there was a few questions in there about government travel advice. So we are expecting an update from the government on the 24th of June. As soon as we have information, the guidance that's there, we'll be updating you guys straight away. So just make sure that you signed up to the trade emails, that you're on Partners to Success Facebook and Instagram, so that you can keep in the know with any of our updates. And then we can't come on here and not mention our current competition, because if you haven't heard about it by now, I'm not sure why you haven't, because we haven't stopped talking about it since it launched. But that's for a very good reason. It's because there's £1,000 marketing spend up for grabs with this competition. So an amazing prize. I'm sure you can think of lots of opportunities as to what you could do with £1,000 marketing spend. But not only that, we have got 2 runner-up prizes of £500 as well. So if you're not in with the know, you need to go and check it out on the trade website, and don't leave it too late. We've got until the 30th of June to enter. And if you're not sure what's going on, then please get in touch with your sales executive. We'll be more than happy to talk you through everything that's going on. Plus, now if that's not enough, as a trade team, we've been working really hard to bring you more. We've got some competitions coming up. We have some fab prizes as well. So you just need to be watching this space, because we do have more coming your way. And I think that's all I'm going to tell them, Freya.
Oh, okay. Yeah, lots of opportunities to win with us here at Jet2holidays. So definitely keep your eyes and ears peeled, guys.
Absolutely. So that's enough about Jet2holidays. And because today is literally all about Croatia, and we couldn't not talk about Freya's experience, because she's been so excited to share it with you as well.
Yeah. So obviously we have Daria with us today from the Croatian National Tourist Board, who will be taking you through the country as a destination. So really excited to hear that. And it is a fantastic presentation, guys. But I just wanted to give you an update on my fabulous trip. I was lucky enough to travel to Croatia, the Dubrovnik region, on a Jet2holidays fam trip back in 2019. So yeah, just wanted to give you a little bit of insight into my experience and what I thought about Dubrovnik and the region. So really, really pretty. The scenery is fantastic. It's full of history, and it is renowned for its terracotta rooftops. I think one key for me, which I home in on, is that the transfer time is only 30 minutes, which is fantastic for families, adults and groups of people, really accessible. We also took an excursion up to the top of the mountain Jera, which was a cable car ride, and the views up there are phenomenal over the old town of Dubrovnik. So it's definitely a must to do that as an experience. Not only that, I was lucky enough, as we know, Dubrovnik is renowned for the hundreds of islands that it has to offer for your customers to experience. And I managed to visit 2 of the Elefiti Islands, which were Lapud and also Kolosepi. So these islands are totally unique and all have their own individuality. So again, telling customers to visit the islands, take a boat trip for the day is definitely a must. Not only that, we took a guided tour around the old town, and this town is full of history. So I really recommend that as well when selling into your customers for this area of Croatia. Plus, I don't know if you knew, I didn't know this before I went, but wine tasting is very popular in Croatia. And there is a specific bar restaurant that I went to and experienced, which was called Stara Loza. Now, this little restaurant is absolutely fantastic. It's underground, you go down the steps, and the wine tasting cellar in there is phenomenal. So many choices, and
it's right up my street.
Definitely, and it's definitely safe to say I was a little bit tipsy when I got out of there in the evening. And then a next must to do in the old town is, if you do the wine tasting restaurant was called Divino Wine Bar. Starilozza was a restaurant which we ate at, which the views at the top of there, you can look out onto the terracotta rooftops, and I got some amazing pictures. It was just phenomenal. And then not only that, we visited Savtat. Savtat is a 15-minute transfer from Dubrovnik Airport and is really good for groups of people and the younger market as well. Really beautiful town, fantastic scenery, and close to the sea as well. Lovely little walk around. So again, if you've got customers that are wanting to maybe take a day trip there or are wanting to stay in there, it's good for all age ranges. And I think as well, for me, what I really wanted to home in on is that area of Croatia, Dubrovnik, is fantastic for all age ranges. So not just adults only area, it's definitely geared up for families. And the most unique part about it is you're getting the best of both worlds. You're getting the city experience, but also the beach experience as well. So it's definitely a must, guys. And if you haven't been before, please, after this presentation, take a look on our trade website and what there is to offer. And again, as Jade mentioned earlier on, make use of us guys as sales executives. So we know a lot of the properties in Croatia. So if you want any information regarding that, get in touch with us and we'll be able to give you some recommendations on those properties too. I think that's enough that I've said. I'm going to hand over to Daria, because Daria will be able to tell you about the whole of Croatia and the beauty it has to offer. Muted you.
Thank you. Hi everyone. Thanks for joining us today in such great numbers. We'll run through a presentation now, and then afterwards, if you have any questions, happy to answer them. Hi everyone, I'm Daria from Croatian National Tourist Office in London, representing the Croatian National Tourist Board, and I'll be giving you a short presentation on Croatia and its highlights. So let me share my screen with you. So Croatia is located in the heart of Europe. It's a small but highly geographically diverse dragon-shaped country. The population is just over 4 million, so it's a very small country. The climate is moderate continental and Mediterranean, typically Mediterranean on the coast. In terms of the cities, the capital city is Zagreb. The official language is Croatian, but English is very widely spoken, so you will get by speaking Croatian. The currency is Croatian kuna. So 1 pound will give you about 8 to 9 Croatian kunas. And in terms of time difference, it's 1 hour ahead of the UK. It's located in the heart of Europe on the eastern coast of the Adriatic Sea, and it's in perfect location to the rest of Europe. So it's accessible by road, sea, rail, and air, and it's perfectly positioned either for spending a long, nice holiday within the country and traveling across, or even as a base to venture out to other European countries. It's got 9 international airports located throughout the country and major cities along the coast. Croatia is full of beautiful nature, islands and beaches with a rich cultural heritage, spectacular history and great gastronomical diversity. And we will be running through some highlights of the 3 main coastal regions: Istria in the northwest, Split Dalmatia further down south, and Dubrovnik-Neretva County all the way south. But before that, we'll cover the general highlights of the country. So Croatia has the highest percentage of protected areas of any single country in Europe. Croatia has 8 national parks and 12 parks of nature. And with all that territory combined, it gives about 10% of the total area of Croatia is actually protected areas. Some of these places are very well known, such as Plitvice Lakes National Park, Kornati National Park, and Krka Waterfalls, Krka National Park. Also, Mljet National Park in the Dubrovnik, Neretva region is becoming more popular lately as well. Croatia also has 10 UNESCO World Heritage Sites, such as Diocletian's Palace and medieval Split, Dubrovnik Old Town, historical core of Trogir, which is about half an hour away from Split. Then again, Plitvice Lakes National Park, which are also protected by UNESCO, St. James Cathedral in Šibenik, Starigrad Plain on the island of Hvar, and several more that are protected as UNESCO World Heritage Sites. In terms of intangible cultural heritage, Croatia is the 4th in the world based on the amount of UNESCO items that it has on the list of intangible cultural heritage. So those are traditions such as particular types of singing, particular sports like Sinjska Alka, Knights Tournament in Split, or traditional techniques such as, for example, lace making in Croatia, or the art of dry stonewalling that's also protected as intangible cultural heritage. Croatia's coast has up to 300 sunny days per year and some of the most beautiful beaches in the world. Even though the majority of beaches in Croatia are like tiny pebbles and shingle, everywhere you go, you will see this kind of beautiful nature surrounding it and these crystal clear waters everywhere. Croatia has over 1,200 islands. Not all of them are inhabited. The larger ones are inhabited, but the majority of smaller islands and islets are accessible by a boat. So it makes for a great day at sea to do a boat trip or a short excursion to one of the more secluded islands. And for those who prefer a little bit more activities during their holidays, some adrenaline boosting fun things to do, there are quite a few that you can try out in Croatia, such as diving, cycling, paragliding, rafting, hiking, even bungee jumping and zip lining. Croatia has over 25 products with the EU protected designation of origin. It's famous for many award-winning olive oils and wines, and it's also home to the largest white truffle in the world, which was found in 2010 and it weighed over 1 kilo. Going to Istria. Istria is full of small medieval towns. It's inland is beautiful, hilly landscape, and little towns like Motovun, Grožnjan, Završje, Oprtalj are beautiful, picturesque places to visit, to learn more about the history of Istria. Istria also claims one of the smallest towns in the world, called Hum. And pieces of history are really everywhere scattered across Istria, from the amphitheater and Golden Gate in Pula that you see on the screen to Kažun theme park. Even the streets and squares of Vrsar, Rovinj and Svetlin Čenat tell some amazing stories. The region Istria is definitely a foodie destination as well. It is absolutely famous for its truffles, wine, and olive oils. It is definitely a must-try for everyone visiting Istria. Or you can try this amazing dish, homemade pasta with some truffles. Well, whilst you're in the region, a definite must experience is at least one of 3 natural jewels of Istria. You can visit the Brijuni National Park, Premantura, or the Limbey Nature Reserves. Moving down to Split. Split developed from a palace, actually, Split as we know it today. So in the year 305, the then world's most powerful man, the Roman Emperor Diocletian, chose to build his home in the heart of the region of Dalmatia, setting the first stones in place for the future city of Split. So what you see here on the screen is the square peristyle that is within the palace itself, and in fact, wherever you walk in the city core of Split, you will be actually walking within the Diocletian's palace. A Diocletian's palace in Split is also protected as UNESCO's World Heritage Site, and is definitely worth a visit and setting aside a day or two to completely explore. Some of the most beautiful beaches are actually located in the Split region, like, for example, what you see on the screen is Zlatni Rat on the island of Brač, or Stiniva Beach on the island of Vis, or many beaches on Bakarska Riviera, which are very, very popular with travelers. You can take a ferry from Split to the nearby Brač Island to enjoy the stunning warm waters of the Adriatic Sea. It is a great way to experience Croatia's lovely coastline. You can spend a day on this beach, on the beach Zlatni Rat in Bol, which is popular for its unique shape and great for water sports. What's particular with the shape is that the tip of the beach actually changes shape, changes direction, depending on the currents and the wind. So sometimes it will be completely curled towards to the left, or completely curled in the opposite direction, depending on the currents and the wind. The inland villages and coastal tracks of Brač Island are perfect for cycling and exploring. The roads are quiet and very safe, and you can discover pine forests, coastal paths, and secluded swimming spots. When you are in the region, must try is definitely primarily fresh fish from the coastal area of this region, the award-winning olive oils from its islands, and absolutely what you see on the screen, pašticada or arambašići from Sinj, which are beautiful flavors to explore from this region's inland. Split is also home to the Ultra Europe Music Festival, but also the whole region is full of interesting events, fisherman village fiestas, or klapa gatherings. Even throughout the summer, there is this month-long event called Split Summer Festival, and you see the whole of Split transform into a sort of open-air theater with different stages scattered across the city, where you can enjoy theater performances, operas, ballets, lots of different cultural content spread out throughout a month across July and August. So definitely set some time aside for exploring Split. And moving down to Dubrovnik. Dubrovnik whole region, Dubrovnik itself is obviously very popular, especially with the British travelers, and it's very widely known, but actually the surrounding areas of Dubrovnik also have quite a few stories to tell. So whilst you're in the area, you should definitely at least try and explore the town walls of Ston on the peninsula of Pelješac, which are known as the European Wall of China, dating from the 14th century and unique due to the length of 5.5 kilometers, monumental size, and the defense structures scattered across the wall. Dubrovnik itself is also known as the Pearl of the Adriatic. It was also used as a set for King's Landing in the famous TV series Game of Thrones, and it is also protected as UNESCO's World Heritage Site. It's one of the most considered one of the most beautiful cities in the Mediterranean for sightseeing, shopping in ancient streets, and walking along city walls for some amazing views of the city core, but also the islands off the coast. You can walk down Stradun Old Town, Stradun pedestrian road, which is the Dubrovnik Old Town's main street and promenade. Or another option is to go with a small walking tour of the old town Dubrovnik. So you can hire a local guide and they can guide you through the area and give you some great introduction to the history of the city. You can also go up Dubrovnik cable car for a bird's eye view of Dubrovnik. It's a quick, short ride up, but it offers some spectacular views. So we do recommend going just around sunset time to get some amazing photo opportunities. You can also take an optional boat ride to the island of Lokrum. Very, very short boat ride from Dubrovnik Old Port. The Lokrum Island has a little Benedictine monastery, a botanical garden, and a small lake you can swim in as well. Whilst you're in the region, you must try Dingač wine from the Pelješac Peninsula, authentic sort of wine, and definitely mandarins from the Neretva Valley. You can even join in for the mandarin and grape harvests and be a part of this amazing tradition. If you have more time to spend in the region, you must definitely venture out to the islands surrounding Dubrovnik, such as the island of Korčula, which is also the birthplace of Marco Polo, or the island of Mljet, which is home to Mljet National Park. Or alternatively, you can visit the Elafiti Islands of Koločep, Lopud, and Šipan and enjoy their more secluded Renaissance atmosphere. So that was it from me, a little bite-sized feature of Istria's split region and Dubrovnik region. If you have any questions, always feel free to reach out to us directly at info@croatia-london.co.uk. We have a representative office in London, and we are always available for any questions or any sort of support you may need. Thank you very much for your attention.
Wow, that was some presentation. Them photos, I mean, if the photos don't want to make you go, then the history and the food definitely will, won't it? So
it's definitely making me want to go back, Jade.
100%.
Sorry about before, guys. My internet decided to dip out.
So that's why we've got two. We've got a plan B. You always have a plan B.
Always.
So I think we'll go now on to some questions for Daria that were pre-submitted. If you have seen that there's been a few comments in the chat as well, so just have a look through those and see if there's any extra ones that we need to pop in. But I'm just going to ask you to unmute, Daria. And then, so first couple of questions that we got in the sign-up forms. So the first one was, what is the weather like in the shoulder months? So referring to like the end of March, the start of April and October time.
Mm-hmm. So the climate on the coast specifically is typically Mediterranean. So from March, April, you will see those milder mid-teen temperatures, sometimes end of April can go up in the 20s as well, but it's a really nice time actually to travel, because you'll get a little bit of better weather, but you will avoid the usual crowds that are usually there in July and August. The same goes for end of September, October. Absolutely great time to go, because the water is also still going to be warm from the scorching summer, so you'll be able to have a swim and enjoy a swim as well. And again, you'll enjoy the usual peak season crowds.
Brilliant. I mean, if our April's anything like it has been this year, then April will be a month to go in, because it was snowing here this year. So I'm sure Croatia's a lot nicer. Next question I've got is, can you recommend any accessible or wheelchair-friendly resorts?
I'd say across Croatia, there are facilities. So you'll see all public toilets, the bus station, train station, airports, etc. They all have adapted access. In terms of accommodation, you'll see all larger hotels, and the majority of 4- or 5-star hotels will be accessible. In terms of private accommodation, maybe a little bit less so. So you would need to maybe look a bit more detail. I'd say Split is quite accessible. So you have the Riva promenade, literally in the city center in the old core. It's flat and wide, and it's actually the sort of like the center of the city, where everything goes on. There's always lots of people, lots of commotion, things happening on the street. So it's a great place actually to spend time. So if you're in Split, you'll definitely pass through Riva plenty of times, and it's very, very accessible. And then the whole promenade actually goes all the way to the marina, so to the west coast of the city, which is all again flat and accessible. Marmontova Street as well. I would say maybe just the old inner city core is a little bit more tricky, but it's like that maybe in a lot of coastal towns, simply because they're cobblestone. Yeah. So it can be a little bit tricky, but wherever it was possible, they the local authorities did make sure that they make it as accessible as possible. And then Dubrovnik as well is quite accessible. So you can enter. There's a ramp in 2 major entrances to the old town. So Pila Gate and Ploče Gate on the opposite side. Stradun, the main promenade in Dubrovnik, is flat as well and wide. And there's lots of little shops, restaurants around there that are accessible as well. Definitely Dubrovnik cable car is accessible as well. So it's a short ride, the cable car, up to the Mount Search, just above Dubrovnik, and it gives you the most spectacular views of the Dubrovnik old town. We do recommend always going just around sunset, because it gives you great photo opportunities, great memories. But it is accessible to the cable car itself, and there's a nice restaurant where you can refresh and replenish as well. Then there's very close to Dubrovnik is Trsteno Arboretum, which is in a way like a garden, like an outdoor museum of nature, really. So it's accessible as well. Then you have the aquarium in the old town Dubrovnik, a rector's palace in the old town Dubrovnik, accessible. So wherever it was possible, they did make it as accessible as possible. And then there's obviously a lot of beaches across Croatia that are wheelchair accessible as well.
Wow, okay, lots and lots of tips there. So I hope you were making notes on those. That's brilliant. And then the next one, I think we did touch on it a little bit within the presentation, but is like with the festivals and the music and different things, but is there any particular areas that are more suited for nightlife for younger people?
I'd say a lot of Croatia is, and year by year we're getting even more and more content specifically, for younger people, younger generations. So there's lots of festivals up in the northern parts of the coast, Zrče, the island of Pag, very popular, for nightlife and partying. But then Split as well, obviously being the host of Ultra Music Festival. There's loads of other festivals happening throughout the summer. Split city beach called Bačvice is also riddled with little bars and restaurants right on the beach. So it's very popular for nightlife with locals and tourists alike, but also Dubrovnik. So Dubrovnik might be a little bit on the more expensive side or more pricey than Split. But there's still lots of content for young people, not just nightlife, but also sports and activities, adventures, and things like that. So plenty of content across the coast.
Amazing. Wow, I feel all Croatia's out. I feel like I know everything now.
You need to go now, Jade.
I know, yeah, that's all I need to do, just need a bucket. There's some brilliant comments in the chat here as well. We've got people that stayed, they've been wowed by the crystal clear waters. Is there any questions that you've picked out? Poor Walden's having a fire alarm.
Yeah, I know, I've got a fire alarm going off and my internet cutting out. There was one question that did come through from Chrissy, and she has asked, how long does it take to Brac, and is there an estimated cost on that as well for the transfer cost?
So usually if you go to Brac, you would go from Split. Split is sort of the major port. It's about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour on a ferry or a pedestrian catamaran. Ferries are usually cheaper, so between 5 and 10 pounds. The catamaran, the pedestrian catamaran is a bit more expensive, so it would be about maybe 15 to 20 pounds.
Okay, brilliant, thank you. And that was it really, Jade, that came through. I think you covered off everything this, earlier on in the presentation and the session. So yeah, not got many other questions through. So I think we've got everything covered off. So thank you very much.
Well, we know what time it is now. it's time to win, isn't it? So...
Yes.
Oh, that sounds fabulous. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today. And thank you to our top winner and also everybody that joined in the quiz. It's been absolutely amazing looking at Croatia today. So we're going to leave you with some nice uplifting music to carry on with the rest of your day. And if you do need anything from the trade team, please get in touch with your sales executive. And if you need anything from the Croatian Tourist Board, then please just let us know and we can get you in touch with Daria as well. But thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Daria, as well. It was fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone.
Brilliant session.
Lovely being here.
Thanks, everyone. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.